Hi, welcome to episode 6 of season 1 of Everyday NLP Bites. I'm Florence Madden. I'm an NLP trainer and coach based in Cumbria in the north of England. I'm also the author of a book called The Intention Impact Conundrum, which is based on a course that I run in the Lake District, and co-author of Everyday NLP, a book that I've co-written with my friend and associate, Eleni Sarantanou. And both of these books are available on Amazon. In this episode, I'm looking at who or what are my anchors. So what do we mean by an anchor? I'll tell you a story. Again, a couple of years back, Eleni and I were in Amorgos. Eleni runs courses in Amorgos on a fairly regular basis. And if you've never been there, it's a beautiful Greek island. And in Iali Bay, where Eleni was running the course, there was a yacht anchored. And the rumour went round that the occupants of the yacht were Tom Hanks and his family. Now, we craned our necks to see if we could see Tom and his family. And I think in the time that it was there, we never actually saw anybody. But whoever the occupants of that yacht were, they put their anchor down in Iali Bay because that was a lovely place to be, and they chose to stay there for about a week. And that's the whole thing about an anchor on a boat. It holds you in a particular place, but it doesn't necessarily hold you in a fixed position. It allows flexibility. And anchors in NLP also hold you in a particular place, specifically in a particular state. So that might be a state of confidence, of happiness, of calmness, of joy, whatever it is, but something that is a good state and somewhere that we want to stay. Richard Bandler, one of the co-creators of NLP, reflected on the fact that most of us feel good about something at one time or another. But he thought the real trick was to feel good for no particular reason, and to be able to have some control over that process. And that's what anchoring in NLP is all about. What can we do to maintain the state that we want to be in? Because the better the state that we're in, the more effective we are in whatever it is that we happen to be doing. Now, anchors are naturally occurring in that there are things that we have associations with. In one of the earlier episodes, I was talking about information coming in through our senses and being interpreted and given meaning by our unconscious mind. And of course, this is how anchors form. So if you're driving and you see blue flashing lights behind you, I'm not sure if you do, but certainly many people have formed a meaning and an association with that to know, first of all, that that's the emergency services. And certainly when I see blue flashing lights behind me, my instant reaction is to check my speed. Other anchors that are common about us are things like the theme tune of a favourite TV programme. Perhaps the voice of somebody that you love. Somebody was talking about the smell of their baby's hair was a really powerful anchor. I have to say, the smell of my dog's fur, particularly when I've been away from home and I come back and I bury my nose in that, that's an anchor for me as well. And those are just a few examples of things that have become anchors for us, quite by accident. So in NLP, we have a number of ways of setting anchors. But before you do that, you can, and perhaps you already do, employ some of those anchors that have happened or have naturally occurred. So, for example, when I go to run a training course, I never start without actually applying my lipstick. And a friend of mine christened that the lipstick of training. But that makes me feel as if, okay, here, we're ready to go. I'm I'm ready to start. Sometimes it's the particular clothes that you're wearing that are natural anchors. If you're going for an interview or you're going to an important meeting, there are certain clothes that make us feel that bit better. This necklace that I'm wearing is one that I bought when I was with Eleni in Thessaloniki. So this is becoming an anchor, and when I put it on, I think of her and I think of the time that we spent there when we were writing the book. Different colours have those associations. Sometimes the pictures that we put up on the wall. The one up behind me here was gifted to me by a lady called Maggie, who was my boss previously. And when I look at that, that makes me smile because it reminds me of her. And indeed, my whole office is a happy place for me. So that whole room has become an anchor. And of course, we can choose to surround ourselves with things that have a good association or a good feeling for us. It's probably something that we do already or something you do already. It's worth thinking about, well, what else could I do that could actually use this phenomenon? And of course, there are a number of processes within NLP to set an anchor. The best time to set an anchor is when that good state is occurring. So when you're doing something that's making you feel really good or making you feel really confident, then that is the best time to set an anchor. And I suppose a simple way to set an anchor is to, first of all, decide what is the state that I want to anchor. Let's say it's confidence, for example, and decide where you want to place that anchor. Now, when you're placing an anchor physically, you want to place it somewhere that you wouldn't necessarily touch inadvertently. So it might be the middle knuckle of your hand, or it might be an earlobe, something like that. Something that you can access without other people particularly noticing, and also something that you're less likely to do just kind of inadvertently. So if you're going to anchor a particular feeling, say confidence, onto your knuckle, then you can do that. As I say, when you're in a particular situation, when you're feeling confident, just press down hard on it. More often, we're probably setting an anchor afterwards, and you can use memories of good experiences to set anchors also. So to set an anchor of confidence, you might think about, say, 3 occasions, not necessarily work-based, can be anything in your life, when you felt confident. Now, the key time to set an anchor is when that feeling is at its strongest. So when we recall something, that feeling builds and builds and builds, it peaks and then it dissipates. So what you want to anchor is that time when it is really strong, but before it starts to fade away. So you might recall an experience when you've been really at your best, feeling at your most confident, and just to take yourself back into that experience and just re-experience that feeling of confidence. And when you feel it really strongly, then press hard on your knuckle, remembering to take the pressure off before that feeling starts to slip away. And every time, those other, I mentioned using 3 experiences, is repeat that another 2 times. And once you've done that, then give your hands a shake and press that knuckle again and see if that feeling comes back. And of course, every time you think of an experience or you have an experience of feeling confidence, you can press on that knuckle again and keep adding to it. That is called stacking anchors. The whole process of setting anchors, though, is one that has become an anchor for me, full stop. I'll be careful how I tell this story. Eleni wanted me to put it into the book, and I did eventually. When we were doing our training together, we had to do presentations to the other NLP trainers. And mine was on anchoring, and I thought, well, I'll choose something that people don't often do, and that is called sliding anchors. Sliding anchors are where you anchor a particular feeling onto a spot in your body and then slide your finger along to increase that. So here I was explaining that what you needed was an area of skin about 6 inches long that you could access. I had a finger in mind or a forearm in mind, but it was not what my audience had in mind, and they just dissolved into laughter. Every time now on an NLP course, when I have to explain anchoring, that floods back to me and I start to laugh. But then, of course, I need to explain that to my delegates, otherwise they'd think I'd gone mad. So think about the things that put you in a good place. Think about the objects that make you feel good. And just think about how you can use anchors to keep yourself in the best possible place for you. So thank you again for listening. You can find out more on my website about the services I offer and the courses that I run. That's www.florencemadden.co.uk. And of course, my books are available on Amazon. Thank you again for listening, and join me for the next episode, which is Who or What Are My Resources? Thank you again for listening.